Welcome to the historic race circuit Longford, located in Tasmania, Australia. This was a 4.5 mile or 7 kilometre race circuit used between the years of 1953 to 1968. The circuit was put together by joining a series of public roads that actually passed through the village of Longford itself. Today, I have recreated the March 5, 1967 Longford Tasman race. And I'm doing this in the digital domain. And I'm doing this via a race simulator called R-Factor 2. So my plan today is to jump in my do-it-yourself 4 degree of freedom motion simulator platform and basically race around Longford. And as we race, we're going to talk about the rich history of Longford and how Longford positively contributed to motorsport in Australia on the whole. A shameless plug here. This motion simulator that you see me racing in, I now teach others how to build this motion simulator. On my channel, there are step-by-step tutorials on how to build this. Everything from material selection, fabrication, the right motors and electronics to use, the right software to use, the whole kit and caboodle. I teach you the lot. And you will be a happy camper if you're into racing simulation games if you build one of these, because the immersion is next level. And if you appreciate my content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. Longford was a favourite of 60s Grand Prix drivers, and it hosted all the greats, everyone from Graham Hill, Jack Brabham, Jim Clark, Jackie Stewart. They all raced here, and it was no secret that Longford was one of the favourite circuits amongst these drivers on the 1960s F1 racing calendar. With its mix of really fast straights and really technical turns, it was a really enjoyable, challenging circuit to drive. Sections of the circuit like the Flying Mile, the Viaduct, Longford Corner, Tannery Corner, Long Bridge, they really kept the drivers on their toes. And we're talking about an era here where courage, determination and speed took precedence over the safety of the drivers themselves and for the loyal fans that turned up to spectate and watch the races take place. Longford in the end, like so many other forgotten and now unused temporary circuits in Australia, succumbed to the same pressure that these other tracks succumbed to. Because of the fact that this circuit was put together with public roads, it was just literally impossible to meet the safety standards required that were becoming more and more prevalent as motorsport and car racing entered the late 60s and into the 70s. The inability for the race circuit to be able to come up to the safety standards needed to continue motor racing, along with financial issues, saw the track no longer used following the 1968 Tasman Series meeting. The outright lap record for Longford was 2 minutes 12.6 seconds, and this was achieved with an average lap speed of 122.2 miles per hour or 196.62 kilometres an hour in today's standards, and that was achieved by New Zealand's Chris Arman in a Ferrari P4 sports car at the final meeting. And it was the fastest lap speed for any Australian motor racing circuit, and it remained that way until the opening of Calder Park Thunderdome in Melbourne in 1987. So the first race to ever take place at Longford was held in 1953, and this was the Australian Grand Prix. It was staged again there in 1959 and 1965, and the track also hosted a round of the Tasman series each year from 64 to 68. Longford was also the venue for the single race 1962 Australian Touring Car Championship. And with Longford circuit being just a touch over 7 kilometres, it was the longest circuit ever used for the Australian Touring Car Championships. It was also the longest circuit ever used for the Australian Tourist Trophy and for the Australian Drivers' Championships. Longford saw such a variety of sports cars take to its track. Ferrari P4s, the Cooper T79, the BRM P261s, Maserati 250Fs, the Jaguar Mark 1 and Mark 2s, Holden FXs, Holden FJs, Ford Anglias, the list just goes on and on. In fact, if you had the equivalent of a month's wage at the time, you could turn up to a race meet weekend at Longford and race your family car. There'd be no guarantee of a win in the family car, but you would be guaranteed of a fat time. Sadly, Longford only saw one hosting of the Australian Touring Car Championship. This was in 1962, and it was a CAM-sanctioned motor racing event for Appendix J touring cars. It was contested as a single race on the 3rd of March 1962. The title, which was the third Australian Touring Car Championship, and it was won by Bob Jane, driving a Jaguar Mark II 3.8 litre. But Longford really favoured the Australian Grand Prix F1 cars. Its long straights and its flowing circuit just lent itself to 1960s F1 racing. Longford remained Australia's fastest road racing circuit until the Formula One series moved to the new Albert Park Grand Prix circuit in Melbourne in 1996. That's quite an achievement, given that gap from 1968 all the way through to 1996. Since the last racing days of 1968, the legend has not left Longford, and there are several events that still take place at Longford celebrating its long racing history. Festivals like the Longford Motorama Car Festival and the Longford Revival Race Festival take place annually at Longford, and they are not looking like they're going to go away anytime soon. Such is the nostalgia and legendary status of Longford as an Australian iconic historic racing venue. Thank you so much for tuning in. In my next video, we're going to continue to look at Australian racing history. We're going to look at the beautiful Catalina Park, built in Katoomba in the gorgeous Blue Mountains of New South Wales. It was a roller coaster of a circuit that demanded courage and precision, and it saw Australia's best drivers competing in full races at Catalina Park. So until I see you in that video, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and take it easy out there.